Planner version 3.1 training, session 11, risk analysis. Okay, so we've been building up our list of risks here, and we can see those being shown automatically in a chart at the top of the page here, where they are grouped by status, and in fact we have a customized status here of parked as well, and by category, and in fact we have some non-standard categories in here as well, including clinical. And so it's automatically generating that as a summary of the list that we have shown, of the risks that we have shown in the list. And we also see we have responses, and this is in the all responses mode. So we can see quite a lot of data here already, and of course we can order and manage that data by clicking on the various columns to juggle the order of the items to the column type that we have set. So that's quite a useful way of getting to grips quickly with things. All of these work within the context of view though. So we talked about view in an earlier session on tasks and plans, but exactly the same sort of thing is available here. We can select from a view. We've got a shorter set of the built-in ones, but it works exactly the same, built-ins and plan, one saved with the plan as well. So I can look at all risks with probability greater than 30%. It'll go away and get those, and I can see those there, and anything else is filtered out. And we can see that that applies also to my chart here, where we're down to a total of 4, and it's also applied the same rules to the responses area. So the view, in exactly the same way as it did previously on task side, allows me to control some of that. So in this case, the view includes the saved element of show all responses. So we can switch this response areas around with the view, and we can also sort the column, and we can apply, of course, some filters. So here we're looking at excluding closed risks and risks with probability greater than 30%. So absolutely standard, exactly the same thing we did before. Really easy to set these up and use them. Exactly the same sort of rules as previously. Again, likewise, we can have display columns. We can choose what we're going to display at both the risk list side and the responses area, and decide in which order those are. Exactly the same way we can drag them around in the display and then read from the current view to upload this form here. And again, views, once we start changing them, we can save them if we in fact have the password switched off to enable us to do that. So that's all actually pretty straightforward to do following that view, and we can get some really quite different analyses here. We can also get some further charts as well as this sort of simple table view at the top. So if I use the More Charts link, this will give me a typical sort of bar chart for my risks, again using the colours and the statuses that we've identified, and also a risk rating spread. And the risk rating spread is an interesting way to see the sort of progress you're making with your risks. Here in this column we show all inherent risks that we have in this particular current view. So in this case we have 4. There must be a couple of them at the same point here. We can see what those risks are, we can see what the risk rating of them is, etc. We then have risk all inherents not closed, and we then have all residual not closed. So we can see the residual ratings are coming down relative to the inherent ratings. And in fact, of course, here we're filtering out closed ones already. So let's come back to here and go back to our default view and come back to our charts, and here we can see a much more complete set of data, and we can see that we're making good progress by and large in improving the risk profile of the project. Now these red items that we can see here are negative risk ratings, and a negative risk rating is a negative risk, it's an opportunity. It's possible for you to, in your setup, give the ability to select a negative impact, and that will make all the risk rating calculation negative, and we therefore treat that as an opportunity. We colour them differently here. I mean, obviously, normally a negative one would create a chart with the display below, but we've sort of doubled those back on themselves, and we just display them as red in here instead of the standard blue. So we've got our risks and our opportunities. We can see how they're improving as we go over to the right hand side, and likewise we have a similar arrangement here for calculations. So this is using the value information that we've put in against our various risks and potentially opportunities. And in fact, of course, if we use negative values for our opportunities, so our risk of something happening was £10,000, the opportunity of something else possibly happening is £10,000, that gives us an overall risk budget for this project of 0, because the two will balance themselves out. And here it does those calculations, looking at the inherent and residual values, probabilising those, ignoring the closed ones, to give us here the figure that we might expect to carry as a risk budget. This is the total probabilised expected value of not closed risks in their residual state. So this is doing quite a lot of analysis for you to give you a picture for where your project risk lies. And again here, how we're averaging the impact probability, proximity, risk rating across all of our risks at inherent and all residual not closed. So we can see if we're making that much better. So quite a lot of bits of data here. In the next session we're going to talk about how we can share that information with other people. So analysis of risks, pretty straightforward, all nicely laid out. The key thing is around using the views element. Okay, thank you.